In northern Syria, fighters backed by Turkish forces have taken 10 villages near Jarablus and 3 more near the area of Al-Rai. The advance by the Free Syrian Army is part of Operation Euphrates Shield, launched on Wednesday against Daesh and the YPG. Its first objective was to free the Syrian border city of Jarablus from Daesh. That operation took just 14 hours. Well, Ediz is back in Turkey and he joins us now live from Gaziantep. It is, as we've just seen in your report there, you've seen and heard what people have dealt with in the hands of Daesh. What's next for the people of Jarablus and how will they go about rebuilding their lives? Who will also be supporting them, I suppose, moving forward?
Most certainly, Sally. This is just the beginning of their lives now, trying to get back to normalcy. But we understand that is not going to be so easy. I think it's really difficult to understand what it does to you when you live under the rule of Daesh for something like 17 months. The smallest example I can give you is that a lot of the people, they did not want to talk to the cameras. They didn't want to say even anything against Daesh in the beginning until they fully know who we are. And because really, for the most part, these people, they don't really have a clue of what's going on in the general scheme of things in the Syrian conflict. And therefore, they always carry that worry really close to their hearts that Daesh might always come back one day and still bring back the same regime, the brutal regime they had to live through. But really, just looking into their eyes, you could see how terrorized they were over the months, just watching people getting executed in public places, being punished all the time. They were beaten and tortured constantly. Their livestock, all of their assets, including money, were confiscated from them. But just now, finally, now that there is a corridor, the FSA is in charge, and they are obviously a lot, they are better to the public. They allowed for this humanitarian corridor that now brings aid to the town. But it's also important to note that even though some of those people of Jarablus who had previously fled the town are now going back, it's not everyone. Even the families of some of those fighters who went to liberate Jarablus that are currently there are telling us that it will still take some days or even weeks until they fully establish the security of the city, and only then they will be bringing more families.
Now, talk us through the latest on the ground in terms of Operation Euphrates Shield. How close is the fighting to Jarablus and what happens next for the operation?
Well, it's really continuing on many fronts. It is almost inside Jarablus at some times and on many front lines around it. I mean, just yesterday, soon after we pulled out of Jarablus, we heard reports about 7 Daesh militants who carried out an attack from the underground tunnels they built in the past year or so. We understand that the attack was foiled by FSA fighters who are also in control of those tunnels at this point. But the FSA is also not sure if there are any inactive cells that might carry out an attack in the upcoming days. So they're still very much wary about the security situation, even inside the city. But looking at around the city, it's safe to say that according to military officials, as of yesterday, the Free Syrian Army, along with the Turkish military's backing, they managed to capture a total of 13 villages. Now, 10 of these villages are immediately around Jarablus, and 3 of them are around just to the western side of Jarablus, just across the Turkish border town of Kilis, across the border on the Syrian side. And it's also important to note that fighting with Daesh continues on a regular basis. Al-Bab is the city where most of those militants had withdrawn to as of the liberation of Jarablus, but we understand that just 8 or 9 kilometers to the south of Jarablus, these FSA fighters are also continuing to clash with Daesh militants on a daily basis.
Okay, Ediz, thanks very much for that. Ediz Tiyansan in Gaziantep on the Turkish-Syrian border there.